most recent video, everybody, we had said 5 days from now, meaning then, the work is going to start on the Sullivans. And Senior Chief John Branning and myself, Shane Stevenson, Curator and Director of Museum Collections, we are here with the bird's eye view, which means you are going to be here with a bird's eye view of watching the barge, multiple barges, come in past the USS Croaker and get near our USS The Sullivans, because with all of your support, we are now going to begin work on USS The Sullivans with that two-part epoxy. Alright, so we're going to head out, we're going to take a look to see where the barges are, and we will be following them in to the Sullivans herself. Alright, let's take a walk. John, you're king of the world. Alright everyone, what we're looking at here. John, do you want to explain what we're looking at?
The company that we've hired to do this work is called Bidco, as you can see. They're actually the ones who put the ships in the locations that they are right now. So who better to continue this kind of work? You see a young man down there disconnecting our debris barrier. And this whole process you see here, all the barges and everything, that's all for work on the Sullivans. All the dive gear, everything's faced out of that, out of these Connex boxes, as you see. They weren't sure whether or not this mooring point right here would have to be removed so they could bring in the barges. And I still think that the jury's out on that. But at least they're doing the due diligence and disconnecting the debris barrier.
Debris barrier. So what we're saying is these, now this, what looks like one barge is actually three probably?
That's what it looks.
Okay. And they're going to be coming this way around to starboard of the pylon here. Is that right?
Yes. They'll probably stick this one in as close as they can towards the bow of the boat. That big open spot. A lot of moving parts.
Yes. So what we think here, everybody, is the one on the right with the two large pilings, that will be the stationary barge. And on the left, that's rotating away from us now, can be broken up into two pieces, and then that's what's going to be dragged through between the ships
To get back to the Sullivans.
We might see some nice flora and fauna here in the Buffalo River coming up to the surface.
Again, they weren't sure whether or not this whole structure, it actually sits on top of pipes that are driven into the bedrock. Apparently this was done before I was here, before I started here, and so this whole mooring point just lifts right off, and that's why they brought the crane and this big barge in case they would have to do that.
So we just saw one of those piles go right into the water. There it is right there, coming up a little bit. I do not know what they're doing there. And there's the company that we're working with, Bidco. John, do you also want to tell us what they're going to be doing with the Croaker here?
Their barge is X number of feet wide, and the distance from the stern of the Croaker to the bow of the Sullivans is less than. So the original idea was to drag the Croaker forward to give them a little more space back aft. But due to some damage that we have incurred on the Croaker, she was sitting on the bottom, as you saw in previous videos. She was listing over to starboard, so with Bidco's help, we started pumping out as much water as we possibly could to try to right her and refloat her. But there again, with the idea of possibly dragging her across the bottom farther, could potentially create more damage. So now the idea is just basically, once they get the barge in here so far, then they'll pivot the Croaker's tail more toward the pier and the bow out a little bit. So it makes the movement much less and less potential damage that we could incur, or that they would incur. And then as soon as the barge is placed around the Sullivans, she'll go right back to where she was. And they'll tie her all back off.
See, so that's the last video that we just uploaded when John was in the water. That's what he was describing. That the original plan was to bring Croaker just forward, but she was resting on the bottom up until that stabilizer fin, and dragging her along the bottom with all those boulders and rocks could have caused more damage. So they're going to do like a little swing motion here. All right, a little swing motion. And that will give them enough space to get those barges in, and then they'll bring her back to where she was birthed, where she has been birthed, in that straight line pattern with the center line.
Drop this one to kind of give her something to pivot on.
Yes.
Now you drop the other ones and we'll move. Enough of that noise.
And here we go. Now they're going to start to look. Wow, John, these are made up of a whole bunch of barges. I wouldn't have until we got this close. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Sections.
Yeah, you have sections that could be broken off, and those will easily fit in between if you're doing one section at a time. We do have some watchers, which is nice. People have been wondering what we're doing with the money that we've raised, the $570,000 for the Save the Sullivans campaign.
This should certainly explain it, where the money's going.
That's right. You're right.
So much.
This is why it costs so much with these. Look at the staff, the crew, just the equipment. Alright, so while they're figuring out the next stage, we're going to sign off for a little bit, but we'll come back with an update. Come on, Scene, you're king of the world. There you go. Close your eyes, raise your arms. There it is.
Not DiCaprio.
Bye. So, the Croaker has been moved forward about 15 feet. And now they're trying to bring in the barges, and it's a very tight squeeze. Sorry folks, I'm on the ladder, and the Croaker is just free flowing right now. I'm looking aft. We are trying to, I don't know if you can see that, but we are trying to squeeze the barge, and it's only about a foot wider than the Croaker and the Little Rock. So this barge is just about a foot too wide to get through here. So we may need to push the Croaker back into place a little bit more. So as you can see behind me, look at how far away. Usually that brow is resting right on this plate right here. And look at how far away we are. Just a few minutes ago, her stern totally started heading towards Little Rock. And again, they need to try and get those barges through this narrow space, and it's just about a foot too much. And so we gotta, I guess they're gonna try to push the Croaker back a little bit. We'll keep you updated. And there we are, we're getting pushed back towards the pier. And now the ladder, the brow is back on. And now they're going to do the same in the front to try and give us that extra 2 feet of space. So you got a guy on the front doing the same thing. Yep, so there's a tug on the front. That's pushing the bow now. And we're getting the space.
You make it, Johnny?
5 more inches. Well, sorry everyone. This video will be pretty choppy, but they are now going to have to, we just got an update, they're going to work the Croaker back and forth to get the barge through. So now we don't have little toots here, we've got can't see the name. But we have little toots on the stern. Here's another tug, so to speak, from Bidco. And he is forcing Croaker back into the pier a little bit. And it looks like the barge is all of a sudden able to get in. It looks to me like she is just squeezing in there now. Okay, so that might be good news. I think the barge is fitting, and we're gonna go check it out now. Wanna walk this way? Sweet. So the barge is coming, and again, we had to do all this work on the Croaker just to get the barge there for the Sullivans. It looks like we're slowly and surely moving through. The Croaker might have to come. The Croaker might have to come forward a little bit more to get them through this. You can't really see it, but to get them through this bumper right here, to get them towards the stern of the Sullivans. And again, thank you so much for all of your contributions, support, monetary, spreading the word. We couldn't do this work without all of our YouTube subscribers and supporters from all over the world that have contributed to keeping the Sullivans afloat. I'm sure I'll have another update for you though. Until then, thank you. Hey everyone, so this is day 2 of the work that the company Bidco Marine Corporation is doing on USS The Sullivans. It's pretty loud. They got some hoppers running, and of course their machinery. So we can't get too close, so I'm going to try to describe everything here, and then I'll just show you the video of what's going on. Alright, so we have a couple of nights ago, they brought in 2 barges. Yesterday they started working on blasting the zebra mussels that are encasing the Sullivans away. And in about a day they got, right from the blade or the bow, they got about what we think is about 8 to 10 feet. And I assume all the way down from the splash zone or the water line down to the keel. And now what that was like broken up charcoal. All right, so I'll show you. Again, I don't think I'll be able to really talk, but I'll show you and I'll zoom in to what they're using in their fire hose. And it's in a hopper and it's going down through a fire hose out, and that's grinding away those zebra mussels, exposing the original steel. And then I'll also show you what we think is they're just applying, test patching the 2-part epoxy. And so I'll zoom in on that as well. So let's take a walk over and we'll see what's up. All right, so I'll zoom in here. There we go. All right. And if you see those black patches, all right, that's what we think. Those are the test patches for this 2-part epoxy that they'll be using. All right, so there is a diver in the water right now, and again, blasting away some of the zebra mussels. And they put a test patch of the epoxy there in the middle, and that little one forward, right by the bow and the blade of the Sullivans. Now I'll zoom in on, there's some of that broken up charcoal that they're, oh, here comes the diver now. And if you
thank you, no nothing.
And if you see here, that's what they're applying into the hopper and blasting onto the hull of the Sullivans. And so what we think is that this whole package right here that's tarped is that broken up charcoal material, and he's using it to then blast away the zebra mussels. So again, you can see he might be 10, 12 feet for that last patch closest to us here, right there. All right, and they're slowly making their way down to the keel. All right, so that's the update for now, and we'll probably check in tomorrow or next Monday and see how they're doing. Thanks for all your support. Again, this was from our Save the Sullivans campaign. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but there we go. Thank you for all your support.